Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ajiro Tech. Ajiro Tech. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Cambridge IGCSE Information and Communication Technology, the course code 0417, paper 3 spreadsheet, May-June 2024. And this was a paper that was released few hours as of the time of this recording. And we'll be looking at the second variant of paper 3, which is 32. So let's proceed. The instructions are very important. So please go through the instructions as they're there to guide you. Okay. Total mark for the full paper is 70. So we're looking at the spreadsheet part. The web authoring part has already been done. So please, the link will be on this video description, or you can actually check on the YouTube channel Ajiro Tech to get it. Okay. So you have been supplied with the following source files. So for spreadsheet, we have geography and citing. So we're just going to work with that. Giraffe are endangered species only found in part of Africa. You will analyze data on giraffe that have been rescued, tagged, and returned to the wild. Okay. Task 2, spreadsheet. Open and examine the file j32giraffe.csv. So let me do that. So right here, I'll open it. Okay. Now click on this right angle at the top left. Click on it to select both the columns and row. In between column A and B, double click on it. Okay. So that every labels and values are properly shown. The file will be used in step 2 and 3. Do not make any changes to this file. Open and examine the file j32sightings.csv. Okay, so I have it here. Again, I will click on the right angle at the top left to select both the columns and row. In between column A and B, double click on it. Okay, so we have this. Save the file citing.csv as a spreadsheet with the file name giraffe underscore followed by your center number underscore candidate number for this. So I'm just going to like this. I was saving this as a spreadsheet. Copy this. Click on file, save as. You can actually do it here because it has the location here, but I can just choose browse. That will be familiar for everybody. I'll paste it here. The save as type will be Excel workbook, and I'll replace this with my center number, which is AN017, and my candidate number is going to be 2024, and I'm going to save this. Row 7 to 25. Row 7 to 25. Okay. Will show the numbers of sighting of the tag giraffe in each country for 1 week in February. Row 28 onward shows the details of all sighting for this week. Okay. So from row 28 shows the sighting. Okay, send it. All right. Place your name, center number, candidate number, center line in the header. So let's do that. Okay, so I'll click on insert under the text section. Header is going to be center, your name, comma space, center number AN017. So you're required to fill in your own school center number, comma space 2024. What else? Place the text created on. So I'm going to copy this. In your physical exam, of course, you know that you cannot do copy and paste because you're having a physical copy and you have to type it in, right? So I have the privilege of doing that. Okay, so this is going to be in the footer, followed by space, then the automated time in the footer. So they didn't give us a specific location on where we are to put it in the footer. So we can just put it in any alignment. Okay. So I'm just going to click on go to footer and I'm just doing it here, really. So I'm just going to paste this, created on, followed by space. Okay. The automated date. Okay. One, a space, then the text at, space, then the automated time in the footer. Okay, good. So then we've done it, right? Created, followed by space, automated date, space, then the text art, space, then this. Okay, so that's all. So click here. You can actually do it here. Click here to normal view. You can come to your view and then click on normal. So if I go to file and print preview, I will see them right here. Okay. Step 2. Place a replica formula in cell D28. D28. Okay, and I have the name box to help me show the cell location. To look up the spreadsheet, using the code, here, okay, and the external file, J32 geography for the array. Okay, so I'm going to use the SLOOKUP, and just a brief one. Let's look at this. Let me open my slide, and then we can look at use functions. So we can look at the lookup somewhere here, down a bit. There we go. So here we have the various lookups. We have lookup, we have HLOOKUP, right? So looking at this file, you see that this is more or less a VLOOKUP. And why is it a VLOOKUP? Now, is a VLOOKUP because firstly is a function that performs a vertical lookup of data. And again, it can be able to compare your data that are stored in a single column. Okay, in a single column. So if you look at this, you see that they are stored in a single column. Very important. Okay, so the values to be looked up are stored in a column to the right of this cell, and this is the formula for the VLOOKUP. Okay, then for the XLOOKUP, it's still a function, right, that can be used to perform either horizontal or vertical lookup of data. Okay, so this is similar to the HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP, but it's more powerful and flexible than either of this. And the reason why is because it can reference data stored in rows and columns before the lookup value. It simply means that it allows backward referencing within an array, which is kind of what the limitations for the vertical and horizontal lookup. Okay. Okay, so let's proceed. Hope I've learned something. All right, so let's proceed here. So I'm going to use the SLOOKUP and then I'll use the VLOOKUP. Or I'll use VLOOKUP and then I'll use the SLOOKUP. So let me use the VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP. Okay, so I have my code here as my lookup value. The table array, which is the whole table. Shift Control R right, R down. And let's look at the question again. What are we to look up the spreadsheet? Okay. So here, the spreadsheet we're looking up is what is in column C column, which is 3. Okay, because it's a column index. Index of C is 3. So 3, and this is going to be an exact match, which is false or 0. Okay, so we have this. All right. Now for your X lookup. Okay, so we use the X lookup, which is a newer function and is only accessible from 2016, 2019 and above. Right, the 365 automatically you have access to it. So I have the code here. Okay, comma. The lookup array is this right here, list of items that we can find the code, right? So here, shift control R down. What are we returning? We're returning what? The spreadsheet. Shift control R down. And if it's not found, then display empty and it needs to be an exact match. Okay. So at the end of the day, we're still having the same thing. Okay. Step 3. Place a replica formula in cell F28. Okay. F28 to look up the status using the code. Okay. So I'm going to use the SLOOKUP here, using the code, the lookup array. Okay, use this array, shift control R down. The return array is going to be status, shift control R down. And if it's not found, let's have return empty and then an exact match. Okay. And then again, replica simply means that we're going to replicate it. That's what it means. We're going to replicate it. So replica formulas, we're going to do that. So step 4 is replicate the formula entered in step 2 and 3 for all sightings. Okay, so let's do that. Click here. Now, this square box at the bottom right, just double click on it and it's going to replicate. Do the same thing here. Double click on it and it's going to replicate the formula. How cool is that? Okay. All right. The next one. Step 5. Place in cell B3. B3. Okay, what are we doing here? A formula to count the total number of sightings for this 7 days period. Total number of sightings for this 7 days period. Now, how do we go about it? Now let's look at the numbers of sightings for this 7 days period. So here we have this. Numbers of sightings for the 7 days period. So all the species were being cited in this date. Right? They were being cited in this particular date. So now, what do we do? Remember, we are to what? Count the total number of sightings. So do we use count? Do we use count A? When do we need to use count? When do we need to use the count A? Well, I have that answer to that question right here in my slide. So let me scroll up to answer your question. And by the way, this slide is available to students, to teachers. Okay, it's available to you all because I want you all to do well. As a teacher, as a student, yes. All right, so use functions, right? For count, there are statistical functions that count the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. That's for count, that contains numbers. Count A works the same way like the count, but rather than just counting numbers, okay, it also counts text. The whole idea of the count is that it will count everything, including numeric and labels, but it will not count any blank cell within the range. That's the difference. It's not going to count any blank cell, but it will count numeric, it will count text, it will count symbol, it will count everything. But for count, okay, but for count, it's only going to contain what? It's only going to count the numbers of cells that contain numeric. Hope that make sense. Very important. Okay, so with that understanding, let's proceed. So looking at this, tell me right there in the comment section, do we use a count or do we use a count A? Okay, okay. So for most of you that said count A, correct. Yes, okay, correct. Why? Because this is a date. It has a forward slash. And forward slash are not what? Numeric. Okay, so equals to count A. And if you look at this, it will count numbers of cells in the range that are not empty. So I have count here, a count A, and I'm going to click here. So I have this. All right. Shift Control R down. And I'm going to do this. So what do we have here? All right. Step 6. Place in cell B4 a formula. B4, yes, it's B4, okay? A formula to count the numbers of sightings for this 7 days period, where a photograph of critically endangered species was taken. Now, let's look at it. Sighting for this 7 days period, where a photograph, okay, that's one, of critically endangered species was taken. Okay, so that's 2. So now if we look at this, photograph, and then critical endanger, which is status. So we're looking at for the photographic evidence, and then we're looking at the status. Okay, so let's do that. So what do we do here? So let's do that. So here, what I have, we're going to use what we call a count if, because we're having more than one criteria, right? If the criterion is just a count if the criteria is count ifs. Now let me show you right here in my slide. Difference between count if and count ifs. And hope we're learning. Okay, so I have this. Now, for count if, is used to count the numbers of cells within a range that meets a single condition. So it meets a single condition. And this function is very useful for quickly tallying the numbers of times a specific criterion is met. So it's just to meet a single condition with the range, to count numbers of cells within that range, and just a single condition. But for count if, we can have more than one criterion, right? So in this case, we're having criteria 1, criteria 2, criteria 3 as much as possible. So it's used to count numbers of cells that meets more than one criteria. Okay, more than one criteria. So this is very, very important. So let's put that to practice. So here we're having equals to count ifs. Okay, so here we're having, let's get them. I said what? Citing for this 7-day period where a photograph. So photograph, I have this, shift control arrow down. Okay. All right. What do I have again? So we're not having photographic when photograph was taken. So the photographic evidence is yes. So I'm going to use a double speech mark because it's the label. Yes. So let's look at it. Yes. Okay. Second range would be this right here. Shift control arrow down. And look at the question. It said critically endangered species. All right. So what I would do here is, so that's the first one, comma, then speech marks. And the thing here is we are looking for critically what? Endangered. Critically what? Endangered species. So we are going to type it in. And the reason why we're not clicking on it is because we don't have to. You don't have to click on it, it's wrong. Right? It's, I could just easily have just said yes. But since this is what they're looking for photographic evidence that has yes and critically what? Endangered. So I'm going to copy this. Copy this and I'll paste it here. Okay, I'm not done. I have to ensure that it's the same thing. So my C is uppercase. Thank you. And endangered. Okay, so I have this. All right, so let's do this. So we have 12. Okay, very important. All right, insert a new row between row 5 and 6. Between row 5 and 6. So I'll do this here. Click here, right click or click on insert, or you can actually do that here on your home tab and you click on what? Insert row. So whichever one you want to do is fine. And place in cell A6 the text. So I'm going to copy this. A6, Ctrl V to paste it. All right, I think that's the free 2 marks. Step 8. Place a replica formula in cell B8 to display the numbers of citing. B8, okay, yeah, and numbers of citing of a critically what? Endangered what? Species in this country. Can you see that? So we are to display numbers of citing of critically endangered species in this country. So let's look at this. So I have country, I have critically endangered. 2 criteria. It's more than 1 criteria. Because your ability, and this is what we do in the masterclass, really. We try as much as possible to ensure that we're able to properly, right, teach learners how they can properly understand, interpret the question as much as possible. We dive deeper than just a past paper to ensure that at the end of the day, they're able to fully understand any question that is being administered to them. So here we talk about to display numbers of sightings of critically endangered, okay, species in this country. So let's do that. So that's the count ifs, okay. So I have this equals to count ifs, okay. Of course, it count numbers of cells specified by a given set of conditions or criteria. Count if. So my first one is this, okay. Shift Control arrow down, okay, comma, all right, and it's going to be what? Okay, critically endangered. So I'm going to use this, right? Or we can actually type it in, right? So in this case, let me do this. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, critically endangered. Okay. All right. The next one is the country. Shift Control arrow down. And what are we looking at here? So we're looking at, this is going to be relative because we want to look at the country. right? And we can close this, and then there we have it. Okay. Now let's do this. Now there are two ways to do this. You can actually use this and select this and probably make it a more absolute. Okay. So now if we replicate this, let's say we do this for this, see what happens. I'm having zero, I'm having zero. I want to be sure that's the spelling. Um, there's something I'm not getting. Okay, I just want to be sure that's the spelling. Okay, so now what do we do now? Discover that you have something like this, so we have to make this absolute, right? So to make it absolute, I have fn plus f4. Now let me show you something right here in my slide. So I have it here. Okay, so I have it here. There you go. Difference between relative and self-referencing, relative referencing, absolute referencing. So for relative is the method of addressing where the reference to a cell changes when the formula is replicated or copied to another cell. Like we saw there, I was copying it, it changed from F29 to F30. But for absolute, remains constant no matter where it is copied or moved within the spreadsheet, right? So when used, it locks the reference to a specific range of cell, right? And we use the dollar sign. Okay, so we just lock in the columns and the rows, and we use fn plus f4. And if that is not working, you have to probably do it manually. So let's do that here. Okay, so fn f4, and so now let's replicate it and see. Okay, let me close, delete this. Okay, so we have this. All right. Step 9, format the top of the spreadsheet so that it looks like this. Okay. Oh, it's already here. So we have 7012. Let's see if we are correct. Okay, we're correct. And what else? I think I have Botswana, Burundi. What are they having? 0, and Central African Republic 2. Okay, I think we're correct. Okay. All right. So we have this. So let's format it to look like this. So what I would do is I'll probably have to do this, split my screen so that I can have it this way, reduce this a bit so we can do this. So here I'm having, make sure cell A1 to B1 and A6 to B6 are merged. So A1 to B1, okay? So I have it merged, okay, merge and center, I'll just work with merge and center. And I have this as well. So I have this to be merge and center. Okay, so what else? What other information are you providing me with? Set the font size of the text in row 1 and 6 to 20 points. So 20. Okay, this as well, 20. Okay, now the rest is up to us. So let's look at the font. What font is it? Is it a serif or a sans serif? Now for spreadsheet, we have our serif to be Times New Roman, example of a font, and we have our, our serif to be Times New Roman and our sans serif to be Arial and Calibri. Okay, very important. So now we have this. What is it? I'm thinking Calibri. Okay, and bold, Calibri, and bold. I'm thinking all of them is Calibri. Yes, it is. All of them is Calibri. Okay, so I will just select all and just make all Calibri. Okay, it probably will affect some of the things if done here. So let me just do this. Calibre. Yes. Okay, it's already in Calibre. Let me see. It's already in Calibre. Let me see this as well. It's on Calibre. All right, Calibre. So it's fine. Okay. So here I have 2 and 5. 2 and 5. So I have 2. I will hold my control 5 and then I'll adjust it. I'm holding my control, select both of them, and then I'll adjust it to 15. 15 pixels. Okay. Let me make it to 15. All right, 15 pixels. That's fine. Um, Again, I have this to be centered align, and I have this to be right align. Okay. That's not all. Let's start with the top one. Tag giraffe sighting. So I'm going to wrap it. Okay. So what I would do here is I would click here, alternate plus enter, and then adjust this. Okay. Adjust this. Okay. So what else? So I'm having this. I'll wrap this. Okay. So we need to wrap it till we have something like this. Let's wrap it till we have something like this. So let me adjust this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so all right. I think I'm fine. Okay, maybe just move this a bit. Okay, fine with this. And both of them here would be middle align. All right. Um, okay, this is fine. Country, middle align, bolded. Numbers of citing, bolded, and wrapped with center align. This as well is center align, middle align. I'm guessing it's the same for this. Shift Control R down, right align, okay, and Shift Control R down, center align, okay. Think that is all. Mm-hmm. Okay, I guess that is all. All right. Yes, that is all. Save. All right, I have this. Print your spreadsheet showing the formula. Make sure that it is in landscape orientation, showing the formula. So I'm going to click this, formulas, show formula. Okay. Please ensure your formulas are properly visible. Very important. Okay. So ensure your formulas are visible. Okay. Please, you don't want your formulas to be cut off. You will lose marks. Please avoid it. Okay, we can try it again. Okay, so let's check. Okay. So let's do this. File, print. We're printing in landscape. What else? The rows and column headings are displayed. We can do it here, or you can come here to layout and then put the headings here, click on print, and when you click on file, you go to print, it will be there. All formulas are fully visible. So we are having 12 pages. We're having 12 pages. So let's see how we can reduce it as much as possible, right? Let's see how we can reduce it as much as possible. It's also not a crime to add your grid lines. If you want to, it's fine, you can add it. So let's see how we can reduce it. So I'll go to custom scaling or page settings, and I'll probably do this. Let's see how we can make it to, no, 6 is too small. We might have to make it to 9. Okay, let's see. 6 is small. Okay, let's see. Six is small, and I don't. 9 will be better. Let's see. Okay, so let's have it to 80%. 9, good. So you can come here to adjust to, instead of 100%, 100% will give us 12. We don't want it, we can reduce it to 80. 90 will give us 12. Okay, so we can just make it to 80, and that will give us 9. I think I'm okay with 9. Yes, 9 is fine. Okay, because your formulas have to be fully visible. Please, this is very important. It has to be fully visible. So let's print this. Okay, so I'm going to print. Please, your printer has to be Microsoft Print to PDF. Please always advise you to print to PDF. And once you're done with printing with PDF, you can actually see the work before you send it to the actual printer, right? So please, this is very important. So Ajiro Tech, and just in case you have not subscribed to Ajiro Tech YouTube channel, you're probably missing. So please just hit on the subscribe button. Thank you. You're a good student. Okay, all right. So let's do this. 32. Yes. So this is going to be print out formula. Okay. All right. The next thing is select row 1 to 7 inclusive, only the row between 8 and 26 where a citing took place. Okay, so formulas, show formulas, thank you. And this is step 11. Okay, so row 1 to 7, okay, inclusive, only the rows between 8 and 28, 8 and 26, 8 and 26. Okay, and we would do this to see what is happening. All right, so here we're having where a citing took place. So what this means where a citing took place is we're simply saying that we are to filter, right, to remove countries that have 0, right? So in this case, I will just probably do this. Let me just do this since this is way easier. I can just highlight this. Okay, highlight this. Okay, put the filter here. So the numbers of citing here will be, I'll remove the 0, right? Because there are some countries that had no citing. So we are removing countries with what? 0. Okay, and I'll click on what? Okay. So now we have it. Now we have only countries where a citing took place. I want to take a screenshot of the method used to select this row between 8 and 26. I want to place this screenshot in your evidence document. Okay, so let's do that. So what I'll do here is I'll click here and I'm going to take the screenshot. So I'll click on my Windows icon, click on settings because I don't want the dark mode, personalization, colors, dark to light, and then I'll click here and I'll take my screenshot. Now, if you take the snipping, if you open the snipping tool, it's going to go off, right? So let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I open the snipping tool, right, you can see it's going off, right? So we have to use the keyboard shortcut, which is the Windows logo key plus Shift plus S to actually do this. Okay, plus Shift plus S to actually do this. So this is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to click here and then Windows Shift S. And now I can actually take this screenshot. Thank you. Okay, so now I'll open my evidence document. And right here, so this is going to be what? Step 11. Step 11, evidence 1. And I'll hit on my enter. And I'm just going to paste this. Thank you. This is fine, but I just want to do a little bit of cropping. It's not a crime to do this. Okay, so we have this, right? So I'm going to save. All right. Print this selection showing the values. Make sure, so let's print the selection that is showing only the values. So let's do that. So right here, I will go here, and I will do that. So now we need to adjust it. Okay, so now let's go back to the step. Yes, don't forget. Okay, so I will do this and do this. Just to ensure that we're safe, right? And okay, so I have this. What happened? Okay, so let's adjust it a bit. Adjust it a bit. Okay, let me do this. So I've adjusted it a bit. I think this is fine. We have numbers of sightings. Okay, so I need to do this. And I need to move this down. Okay, right? For numbers of sightings. Okay, so I have the numbers of sighting here. Okay, the country and the name of the country, right align, center align, and I think we are good to go. So let's print. I'm going to print. So what I'll do is, let me make this. Okay, I'm going to highlight this, only this. So file, print, and I'm going to choose print selection. Remember, look at the steps. Step 11, they said print this selection, so that they're already just giving you a hint already, showing the values. Okay, so what is it going to be? Fit on a single page. The printout is in portrait orientation. Portrait orientation. Okay, rows and column headings are displayed. Yes, the content of all cells in the selected rows are fully visible. Okay, are fully visible. I think I have that fully visible. And again, please print to PDF. Okay, and then you can actually check your work before you do this. All right, so I'm going to click on print. And then this is going to be print out values. So I'm going to click on Save. Okay, so now we can actually check it. All right, so it is in this video also that we are going to print our evidence document. So we're done with the web authoring. So we're going to dive straight into printing the evidence document. Okay, so task 5, printing the evidence document. Make sure your name, center number, academic number appears on every page of your evidence document. So let's check it. So let's ensure. Okay, so this has to be here. Control Enter. All right. Step 20. Okay, so everything looks good. So I'm going to click on File, click on Print, and I'm going to print this. Again, to PDF and one page per sheet, right? You're not printing on both sides. Even in your exam, please take note of that. So I'll click on Print, right? And I have Ajiro Tech, Print, and I think I have it here. So we have print out evidence document. Okay, so I'll click on Save. So I'm going to refresh. So it's important for us to look at how the work is before you say, sir, I'm done. You can come and take my work, please. Okay, so we have this. All right, I think this is looking good. And we have this. All right, so I think everything is showing well, clearly visible. Yes, it is, it is, it is, it is. And it is as well for the evidence. So looking at it, okay, I think everything looks good. So thank you so much for watching. Please do well to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.